patience. Every minute of every day, someone in the world is being confronted with the validity of their identity. Regardless of age, race, gender, or creed, there appears to be an endless flow of bombardment which reaffirms one's inferiority. I believe this has a catastrophic effect on our mental health. 1 in 4 Americans live with a diagnosable mental health disorder. I am one of those people. Anxiety and depression, they feel incredibly isolating. You may feel like you're entirely alone, but according to the Anxiety and Depression Association of America, I am not alone. We are not alone. In fact, there are 30.9% of Americans who suffer along with us. I intend to speak about the 7.7 million who suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder. I also feel that this is a gross underestimation of the true amount of people who suffer. These are invisible illnesses, hidden from the public eye. They do not discriminate, and they can affect the unlikeliest of people. Many of these people suffer in silence while concealing their debilitating symptoms from the world. While they appear to be smiling on the outside, they often are concealing some very dark pain. This is one of my original illustrations documenting some of my suffering. PTSD is an invisible injury, one that affects a person every moment of every day. It is not limited to, but some symptoms include persistent mental and emotional stress, disturbance of sleep, no matter how tired you are, constant vivid recall of painful experiences. In addition, hypervigilance, feeling like you're on red alert and constantly aware of your surroundings, combined with overwhelming numbness and debilitating despair. Some people often feel like they are a head without a body. How does this happen? Why does this happen? It is a reaction. PTSD has now been categorized as 2 types, regular and complex PTSD. So what is the C, complex? That is associated with people who have experienced repetitive acts of violence at home or abroad. Most commonly, people associate PTSD with people who have served in our military or our police force, but they can also affect people right here at home. We all know that stress is harmful. Well, Harvard has discovered that prolonged stress to be toxic. Toxic stress is equivalent to prolonged activation of the stress response systems, which can disrupt the development of brain architecture and other organ systems. This may also increase the risk of stress-related disease and long-lasting cognitive impairment. Harvard has discovered that in children, when a child experiences strong, frequent, and prolonged adversity, this can literally transform a child prodigy into a functioning human vegetable. What does it feel like? Please raise your hand if you've ever ridden the subway. Please raise your hand if you've traveled from one part of Manhattan to the next. Well, I like to think of our brains as internal cities, complete with destinations, think prefrontal cortex. These cities possess public transportation, think circuits and neural pathways, which allow individuals, information, ideas, or feelings to travel from destination A to destination B. Think thought into action. What would happen to these internal cities if, without warning, the public transportation came to a sudden, grinding halt? Exactly what happened to New York City after Superstorm Sandy hit. Traumatic memories or internal superstorms trigger the brain into fight, flight, or freeze mode, in which the brain's public transportation powers down impeding access to vital destinations. This can render some individuals stranded and force others into sudden reliance on primitive forms of commuting or communication. While we received notice that Superstorm Sandy would strike, not all survivors of trauma are granted such warning. These triggers can happen spontaneously without conscious awareness. What I've just described is what it feels like to have the deactivation of your left hemisphere. The stigma of a particular illness is often worse than having the actual illness. Stigma leads to shame, shame leads to silence, silence leads to suicide. The second leading cause of death for college students is suicide, approximately 1,100 per year. Given that 1 in 4 people suffer, chances are you or somebody you know is suffering. Approximately 60% of individuals who are suffering come out to a friend. This moment is crucial to survival rate. Keep in mind that strange symptoms, like I've described before, are sane reactions to insane experiences. This is a golden moment to save somebody's life. How you react determines whether or not they seek help. Choose wisely. According to a study on mental illness, the results state that hostile social environments negatively impact mental health. However, mental health thrived in inclusive, supportive environments. So what if? If we change the conversation, then people will seek help without further fear of suffering. Let's heal the stigma. Remember those 7.7 million that I mentioned earlier? Or the 1 in 4 who live with a diagnosable mental health disorder? I am one of them. Let's heal the stigma. Thank you.